Hello, my name, as you may know, is George Lees, and today I'm going to tell you about a thing called the 1001 Club. But I want to start with some religious music.
Donkey! That everyone admires, temporarily lazy and permanently tired. A leg at every corner, balancing his head, and a tail to let you know which end he wanted to be fed. Riley, slyly said we've underrated it, why not train it? Then they took a rag, they rubbed it, scrubbed it, they oiled and lubricated it, got it to the postman, the staff had dropped the flag. There was Riley, pushing it, shoving it, shushing it, Hogan, Logan and everyone in town, lined up attacking it and shoving it and smacking it. They might as well have tried to push the town hall down. The donkey was eyeing them, openly defying them, winking, blinking and twisting out of place.
Sorry, that's an Irish chap called Val Doonican, and in the committee of 1000, sorry, the club of 1001, which is the next best thing to the world owning families, he is actually Val Duncan. Yeah, and all through world history, the whole of that, even the bank that is the BCCI, becomes the Indian Cricket Council, and all of it is deceive and conquer. Yeah, and that man there, that Irishman, yeah, who's singing about Delaney's donkey, that is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's donkey, and that is Jesus in the Christian Bible. And every one of the Irish Freemasons, including Val Doonican, understands that they are just slaves to the world-owning families, yet who are not religious either. They are the people that faked up the Bible in the first place. Okay, let me now show you the, and all of that is, this computer is for the next clip, which I'm going to risk copyrighting you for, okay? And I'm going to risk copyrighting. This is the same story that Jesus is the Bible, the donkey is the Christ, Jesus Christ in the Bible. Yeah, that's the donkey underneath the non-existent Jesus Christ on Palm Sunday is the joke that the pythons are sharing, and all of them, when they laugh at it, you know that it is a massive part of the falsified global religious history. Okay, so this is the ending of the introduction, and then we go on to the 1001 Club. There is the topic that we're going to be looking at, but I need this computer here linked to that big telly to get this on the go. So So, enough. Let's now go to the other computer again, where the music came from, and all of that is in my iTunes output. Sorry. Do you get it? The donkey is not well again. That is the life of Brian. That is the Beaverbrs that are now in charge of the whole world, and have replaced the gods in the heavens with that non-existent critter with the big ears. Yeah, and that is, I'll show you how the links to 1001 takes you into Rupert the Bear, and the founders of the 1001 clubs are Ruperts. Yeah, I forget the second name, but we'll find that out in a few minutes. Okay, let's get on to the facts on the actual topic of the overall video. Okay, the 1001 Club membership list: Mafia dons, intelligence agents and raw materials executives striving for a sustainable fucking future. Yeah, there are the founders: Prince Bernhard, Prince Philip, Charles de Hayes, and his nickname is the Rupert, I forget what his second name is, but he's from South Africa. There are a couple of generations of them, and when I was last in Sainsbury's supermarket in Kelso on the weekend, he was on one of the tills, the body double for the South African man. Perfect South African accent. Okay, so this is the 1001 Club. It's funded by Bernhard the Nazi, Prince Philip the abdicated monarch's husband. He knows that his back is against the wall since he murdered Princess Diana and Lord Mountbatten, or ordered that to happen, using the intel movement. Oh, sorry, a little panic attack there, Rebecca. What can we show you? Let's show you some pictures first before we start going down the thingy. Okay, there is the other connotation. So the donkey is the Bible, the wild ass is the equivalent of the donkey in the Bible, and that is Baron Rothschild II towing his cart like the chariots of fire joke against the gods. Yeah, let me show you this. It may take ages to open, because let me see if we can go through the series of images that I've got pre-prepared there. Oh, it looks as if it's going to freeze, and you can see the reason for this. Christmas is approaching, and up there on those tabs that says sunrise Google search. What has happened because of the evil human history is that the sun god Sol Natalis Invictus has been entirely replaced by all of this buffoonery. Yeah, that's Val Doonican in the Irish Freemasons making the joke about Roosevelt's middle name, Delano, and he, remember, is the one that served 3 regimes, then took America to war. Sorry, he was elected on the basis that he would never do that, like Woodrow Wilson before him. Yeah, there is Jesus, yeah, in front of the Rothschild cart, and you've now seen all the sick jokes. I cannot even get it to move one place back. The next place is Hancock Rio Tinto, because Val Duncan is the director at fucking Rio Tinto. Yeah, do you get it? Val Doonican, and all the obfuscation. BCCI you'll learn about later on. It's the Indian cricket cover for one of the world's biggest banks. Okay, and there is the Orca Hancock's woman. There she is with her zebra coloured trousers on. And there is the massive source of a billionaire's wealth in Queenie's Rio Tinto, and that's why Gordon Bowden has explained to me that Queenie is on the boards of that and BHP Billington, but she uses pseudonyms and external slaves to portray that, and that's one of the reasons why my wife was planted into my life. But she's innocent in this story, yeah, a little bit plump like the Hancock's woman. Okay, and I could show you. Let's go down it till we see the Rio Tinto logo. There it is. Okay, Greater Brockman Rio Tinto, and there is Gina Reinhardt, who was married to Hancock. without an S in this case. Okay, and that's why my wife's cousin Simon Hancock's lives in Perth, where the Rio Tinto empire is mined from. Okay, let me go back and show you what the other pictures are on the set. There is the Rio Tinto moniker for Val Duncan, not Doonican, acting out all of those buffoonish roles at the same time. You get Jesus being the Bible, Jesus being the donkey on Palm Sunday, and that's a search for Duncan and Rio Tinto, and we got him earlier, but I just wanted the logo to come up. There is the real Val Duncan. Yeah, the founders of the movement that is the basis for Bilderberg and Davos and all of the fascist groupings all around the world. Okay, and I'll show you later what they've replaced. There's Delaney's donkey, yeah, the world of Val Doonican. So do you get it? There's no likeness at all, but as soon as I saw the name Val for Valentine Doonican, it made me realise that this is the obfuscation tool. Okay, and back we go. And there are the 13 lucky, all the Freemasonic numbers in this man's life. Okay, Delaney's donkey, and there is the beginning of the song, but that is not the computer that we played that on. Okay, I've got that disc. So there is Prof. George Lee's Revelations, and the revelation that this Christmas the sun god Sol Natalis Invictus has been replaced by Jesus the donkey from the Piso pen, and on the front page of that website you'll find that, and there is the sunrise tab. That is the god that I now worship. I have become totally pagan, even as a former Catholic altar boy, and that is the reason that the sun god for me is so inspiring. He's been disappeared, but now that is being recognized by more and more people. And when I ask them the question, if they've got any form of logic or intellect, when do you think was the day of worship of the sun god Sol Natalis Invictus? All of them now, if they're intelligent, tell you that that would have been on the 25th of December, and that is spot on. That is the thing that now inspires me, or those are the people that created this earth and now sustain it with sustainable energy. All of them have been dropped out of the story of the religious world that was written by Piso all those generations back, and there is the family bloodline and all of the pictures that, until the Queen refused to lay the wreath, she has been ordering the taking down of all of the sun god Sol's information off the front page of my website, and that includes, I'm going to turn that tab off, sun god, no offence, but I just need to catch up with the facts that we've got archived here. Okay, there's the bloodline that the Bible author is on. There's the Sigisberts and the Sigismunds that become the Sigmund Freud and all of the families that Murdoch and the likes are wedded into. Okay, and there is William the Conqueror at the bottom of the tree, and up there is the censored part of my website that they've been doctoring for several months, presumably before they began to get the pathologies from the gods that determine the pathologies on this earth. But are no longer allowed to be mentioned in the biblical story. They are the giants, okay, and there is the Bible author's story, and that's the Villa Papyri, and there is Vesuvius and the town of Misenum. This is the world's biggest secrets, and that's why that website has been dismembered and that picture has been taken down. There's the disappeared JPEG that I've had to replace time and time again. It's because the author's initials are Copernicus Piso, and that is the Queen's bloodline, and there is the KP Kenyan Products Terror that all of the panic has, and the Kensington Palace. All of that picture was completely removed because they are totally embarrassed that Queenie is on that bloodline, and there is the Brothers Grimm and the killing of Heath Ledger by the gods for making that movie, which is all about the world being run by acting teams, which is what we have in every government building across the globe, so that the wealth can be stripped. And there's one of the disappeared images. Image may contain one or more people and text. That is the fake Bible author Arius Copernicus Piso, and he has written God out of the Bible story, and that has become the wealthiest project that the world has ever known. And there's the bloodline down below with Queenie and Prince Phil, who's now resigned because he's a realist and quite a clever murderous man. He knows that this joke is unsustainable and the gods are coming back at them. There's the stammering king joke and all of the killing of 45 million people right up to 1945. And King Herod was in the team that wrote the Bible. There he is, second in line on that one, married to Mariam. And there is the man again. The man is called Arius Antoninus Copernicus Piso Josephus, and he is the man that has demonized the gods in the heavens, and that is the same story as William the Conqueror. That's Guillaume the Conqueror, God is ill, and that is the man that is Gilliam, that makes all the Python's movies, and every time they try and make one and complete the Don Quixote myths that the gods need to be fought against by us, the evil humans that create all of the landslides. And did you notice that that home was buried under lava? There it is. The Piso residence right under Vesuvius in 79 AD. Villa of the Papyri. No shame, that later becomes the home of John Paul Getty, because he used to live in the Naples and Roman regions that were under Vesuvius. He now lives in America because there is no volcano there, and that is the naming of the bush home that is in Maine in America is Vesuvius. There is no volcano there, and the people that have replaced God, like George W. and his father Herbert Poppy Bush, think that they're safe in Vesuvius in America, in Maine, where there is no volcano. Right, so you know all of that. Christmas is coming and the gods are getting riled up and I'm really looking forward to it. And Queenie is no longer taking down the images or even laying the wreaths at the cenotaph for all of the people that her families from Germany have killed in all the great conflicts against those Germans. That's why at the end of World War I, when this postcard was popular, that is the I have been killed in combat for my nation, and I need a new pair of underpants because I shit myself when that happened. That is the temerity of the Rothschild family and all the jokers that they employ to make money out of every great conflict. I cannot get it to get rid of that stuff at the top. How are we going to get over this? Let's go down a little bit. So that is the replacement. This Christmas the news is out. Oh shit. So ever so easy to disrupt it. Sorry, I cannot get that set of stuff that is sitting on top of my other tabs to disappear off the computer. This is the role of, oh, there we go. Okay, so now let's go. So you've seen Val Doonican, Delaney's donkey, and all the images. Oh shit. Okay, I ain't pressing any buttons at all now, and let's show you the wild ass on the War Dead postcard, Hannah Mary and Jacob, yeah, Jewish, so that they can use the anti-Semitic tool. All of them, the Bible was written by Piso, and he is one of the most murderous Jews in world history. Yet the number of his own kin was 8 million all around the North African Mediterranean region, and that was reduced to 3 million at the end of his life. Yet it is massive, and that is the launch of the Christians hanging the Jews, and the Bible author was a Jew, and he was in those Roman armies as one of the leadership team, and his nickname is Josephus, and all of history has been falsified since then, which is why Donald's golf courses are named after his partner in Rome that was Emperor Augusta. Yeah, Donald's golf courses. There is the wild ass that that he is singing about. Yeah, Val Doonican, the cover for Duncan on the fascist Club of 1001. There's the Mitford sisters, there's the wild ass towing Baron Rothschild to war, and there are the khaki shorts joke. I am alive, and I have been a lot. Please send me a clean pair of underpants, yeah, under my khaki shorts. Yeah, I have been blown up, shot, bayoneted, and buried in a shell hole. That is the sense of humour that our government, that is the Durham Light Infantry Museum, used to hang that on the walls. They have no fucking shame. There is Hitler Rothschild. There are the donkeys that are Jesus in the output of Arius Copernicus Piso's Bible, and there are the asses that were the coins, yeah, from the mints in Rome, run by the Piso Frugi family, right, even 150 years before Jesus was faked up and replaced by the wild ass. And on the flip side of those coins, you see that there is a Kelpie, yeah, and that is the Falkirk icon, yeah, and all of it is through Scotland, and that is the Pi Paisley Abbey and false religion into Iona, and that is the middle name on that world owning bloodline of Piso's woman. Okay, let's now take you to the topic of the video. And there's the founders, and that is the name. Oh, sorry. So, do you get it? And that's the donkey field run by the Scottish Borders Council, right next door to David Murray's golf course, and that's the Scottish Borders Council that tried to prove my insanity for making videos in support of the gods that created us all and this beautiful earth that we live on. Okay, there's in Belgian or in South African lingo, Charles de Hayes was the founder with Prince Charles, and on that you can find that de Hayes is he is Anton Rupert. Never heard that name until the other day, and that is Rupert the Bear in Beaverbr's Daily Express, and the whole of it is covered like the Urwally system by the Forbes rich listers that are the Thompsons in this city. Yeah, and that's Charles de Hayes went on to serve that his nickname I think must be Anton Rupert. Okay, and the second generation of that bloodline is still very much in the pictures, and I had pictures of them, but now I'm going to take you into the 1001 Club story. Okay, not being able to make the sun come out all day, and that is the deserted sun god Sol Natalis Invictus. Oh shit. And I have no control. Oh, look at that. They've just disappeared the page I was going to start. Oh no. Okay, background of the World Wildlife Fund and the 1001. Yeah, club meetings, different between the 1001 and the Pilgrims. Do you get it? All of the same elite families that become the presidential bloodlines, they are descended from Charlemagne in Europe, and that is the Holy Roman murderous Frankish emperor, and he lived in a place called Casino, which is why George Clooney, which is the cover for the first Vatican, the Cluny Abbey in Clermont-Ferrand, he used to make those movies on Casino, yeah, and the casinos around the world. Purpose of the 1001 Club, controversial members, and it was established in the early 70s by individuals like Prince Bernhard, Prince Philip, and Charles de Hayes, aka Rupert, whatever his name is. Okay? And that is not the Delaney's donkey joke, that is even bigger. Yeah, there's Charles de Hayes, and I believe that will be him, the baldy one, and that is him with the World Wildlife Fund. Yeah, that's the baldy one. Not sure who that one is. Yeah. And Anton Rupert, that every member paid a one-time fee of £10,000, dollars rather, to get lifetime membership. That's about it. Okay, down we go, and then we start identifying them. Remember I told you a couple of weeks ago that the Vesques of Alnwick Castle, yeah, become the Vestes of Argentina. This one, the founder of this club, is one of the early members is Rob Vesco. There's the Aga Khan Abidi. There is Salam bin Laden, the brother of the terrorist Osama. He is on the boards for the Bush family lineage and their corporates. That includes the P&O shipping line that Michael Moore, my MP and Secretary of State for Scotland, had 82 directorates in. Yeah, all of it stitched up by the world's governments, who are the world's mafias. There is Mortimer Bloomfield, that is in the Robin Hood movie with Errol Flynn, that is Lord Mortimer of Leeds with the sun god's icon on his armour, and he has to make way for Robin Hood to sit down. There is Mobutu Sese Seko of the Belgian Congo, wiggling his finger at the naughty Nazi Prince Bernhard, who was in charge of the reparations after World War II, because he moved to Holland and became its king. Yeah, it's Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands now. He was a Nazi in Lip Biesterfeld and a friend of Hitler, and he was allowed to carve up the whole of Europe in the reparations. Okay, Robert Vesco reminds you there of the Vesques of Alnwick Castle. Yeah, there's the BCCI shareholder, that's the bank that we'll tell you about later on. Okay, and that is the cricket, the launch of that, the cricket councils for the world. BCCI banking shareholder Salam bin Laden, the older brother of Osama, whose small plane crashed when the BCCI scandal came out, and that is the scandal, not for them, yeah, but that's the cricket councils. The BCCI is a massive banking interest, and there's a third university in the States that has a BCCI acronym. Okay, Permindex is the company that killed, founded by Mortimer Bloomfield, yeah, That is the company that killed John F. Kennedy, run by Winston Churchill, the Queen's father, yeah, and Lord Beaverbr, and all of them are billionaires through all of their time as warlords. Okay, background of the World Wildlife Foundation. So there's another highlighted. And 1001 club member Mobutu Seko, the anti-communist director of Zaire, having a laugh with Prince Bernhard, and he's got the Panzer Division and the Arius Calpurnius Piso hat on, and all of them are supposed to be World Wildlife member founders and saving the wild creatures, and that's why they wear it, just to show that they've got the power and all of the land all over Africa. Okay, so do you get it? That is Bin Laden on the board of the Bush companies, and that is a little bit further down. Let's go there now, or further down now, if we were able to move the slider. Oh shit. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there is a famous, so the other person that was involved in the founding is Julian Huxley, officially established the WWF together with people like Prince Bernhard and Prince Philip. 10 years later, around 1971, WWF officials Anton Rupert, Prince Philip and Prince Bernhard. Yeah? He's quite a sensible man, really. He knows he cannot fight the sun god Sol Invictus like they celebrate in the Don Quixote Cervantes myths, and all of that is the joke that they are descended from servants' daughters, because their bloodlines are as an act of God rendered extinct. Yet they're incapable of having surviving children because of the inbreeding through all of those years to keep the wealth within the family. Right back to Longshanks, same story. Okay, and there is the founding families, Anton Rupert Sr. and Jr., and they live in West Somerset and in Pretoria in the Republic of South Africa. Yeah, and that is the man, the old one, that was sitting in the behind the till at Sainsbury's. Yeah, the body double for him. I don't think it would be the real one. And there is Rupert Bear in the Daily Express that was run by Beaverbr. And he may be on this club, but oh yes, they are on it. Several generations of it. There is the man with the World Wildlife We'll Still Shoot 'em icon on his head, with Prince Bernhard, the Nazi that was in charge of the reparations after the war. Lip Biesterfield, my sworn enemies. Thank you God for all those messages. Yeah, and he's a dead ringer for Kevin Spacey. And he has several love children all over the globe. Kevin Fowler, the real name, in The Usual Suspects and the Piso family lineage. Yeah, do you get Rupert the Bear in the Beaverbrook run newspapers with the Beaverbrooks in this club? Oh, it's not going to scan. Let's go on. Oh, and it's going to freeze the computer now. Deathly white Prince Bernhard passed on in 2015 at the age of 90 something. Okay, Anton Rupert is said to have came up with the idea. Bernhard became the figurehead, just as Joseph, not Ratzinger, but Rettinger's idea came up. Do you get it? Everything is an obfuscation ploy so that the headlines can look as if the world's popes are innocent. Joseph Rettinger, the Pope that was Benedict, that was forced to resign by me, he is Ratzinger and former Hitler Youth, working for Bernhard for both sides. Yeah, that is Joseph Hieronym Rettinger, born in Krakow next to the death camps in Poland, got his PhD at the Sorbonne in war-free Paris. Yeah, and on it goes. And there's his role, looking like Kevin Spacey and Prince Bernhard all at the same time in the creation of the Bilderberg movement for the world's fascists and the biggest killers. And there he is, close up. Yeah, Joseph, not Ratzinger, but Rettinger. And Ratzinger just happens to be a Joseph, like the Bible heroes. Yeah, that is Josephus. That is the man who wrote the fucking Bible, who was the murderous Jew that was Arius Calpurnius Piso. Not unlike Bernhard, Kevin Spacey, and Dr. Stephen Andrew Hancock's in that one. Yeah. There is Joseph Rettinger again, yeah, in his aged years, and there he is looking like Bernhard again. Yeah, close in the family, and there is Pope Benedict Ratzinger, son of Joseph Alois Hitler. No, sorry, Joseph Alois Ratzinger. Yeah, that is the A. Louis dynasty that is all through the world's elite bloodline. Anton Rupert appointed the Belgian economist Charles de Hayes as Bernhard's personal assistant. In 1974, all the members were recruited, each of them having paid the one-time contribution of 10,000 into the billionaire syndicate for that low entry fee. Club meetings. In 1980, Private Eye magazine wrote, that's the Private Eye that is edited by people of the magnitude of Nigel Lawson, yeah, even Boris Johnson. Yeah, and that is the Private Eye that published that Bin Laden, yeah, went to school with all the elite families at La Rosie on Lake Geneva. Yeah, yeah, but we did not learn about his brother and his interlocks to Bush until today. The puzzling question is, what do the 1001 get for their money apart from private prestige and furry hats and gear from the things that are supposed to protect, and the privilege of dining with Prince Bernhard or the Duke of Edinburgh? Yeah, the meaning of life for the world's fascists. This club comprises 1001 good friends and relations of HRH, Prince Bernhard, all of whom support the World Wildlife activities associated with the World Wildlife Nature Fund. It took some time and a lot of emailing, but on August the 10th, 2005, the Dutch branch of the World Wildlife finally confirmed that meetings are still going on to this day. Yeah? And I received your question about the 1001 Club. Regular meetings indeed do take place. The location is different every time. For instance, last April there has been a panda ball in Monaco, the Côte d'Azur, where Beaverbr ran his art galleries and entertained Winston Churchill on his 50th wedding celebration. Yeah, and a diner in Barcelona where all of it is full of revolutionary players, since I revealed that Lionel Messi of Barcelona is the reason for him being the son of a Perez. That is the reason for the Barcelona terror. There is the World Wildlife badges that I was so proud of when I was a school child at Kelso High School. Yeah, under Mr. Scrimmager and all of the obfuscation of Scottish history that school represents. Yeah, there's the panda trying to have its baby in the part of Edinburgh where the PPP scamsters, Belfinger, whatever their second name is, that built the Forth Bridge, built the Parliament building, built all of the schools in the borders, and all of that is German too, like the Queen's bloodline. Yeah, who used to be Saxe-Coburgs right up to World War I, when their German cousins were on the other side. yeah, closer than cousins in some cases. A very brief 1978 report in the Times confirmed that Prince Philip gave a reception at Windsor Castle for 1001 club members a year before Bernhard headed a 5-day trip to Nepal. Yeah, that's the Naples joke, for the funding of the Bible and the Nepal of 101 club members. That is the founding of the committee of 30. Yeah, all of it is the club, the committee of 30. Yeah. Beside the okay, so there are the berserkers, and that is the meetings in Switzerland. And let's get down to there, because that is God's land in their name, and that is the naming of the Bilderberg venue that man may have died in. That is the son of a shoemaker. You get that now, since the Warner Brothers and Pinocchio used the story. That is the man with no strings, that is Pi Piso's Pinocchio, and that is Jesus, who never lived, so could not get home. The boy with no strings. Yeah? Okay, so the World Wildlife Fund isn't used to questions about the 1001 Club. That man with the hat on is from the Belgian colonies. Yeah, that's the leopard skin hat. Yeah, and that is the Belgian hub for the EU that we now have. And that's the years of Normandy and Denmark and Norway that is the Norman conquest and the birthing of all these sad fascists. This one never recovered from his off-piste accident, but sometimes you see headlines that he has recovered, just so it can make the world's fascists feel better that those that run the Bank of International Settlements also have frequently accidents in the off-piste part. That is God's land in Switzerland. The name of the town is Gland. God's land in the Swiss Alpine master races. Yeah? Do you get off Piso piste? Okay, let's get down to Conrad Black, because I've not done the whole of this website. It is 1001 people long. Yeah? Anyway, if you have 1,000 members with an average age of 45 to 50 years or so, you'd expect that at least an average of about 20 people die each year. 20 new members who each pay the 25 grand now introduction fee is a baseline income for the 1001 Club of at least 5,000 annually, as if they do not do their crooked deals like Bernhard did when he carved up Europe after World War II. Yeah, an obvious difference between the Anglo-American Pilgrim Society is that members, do you get that? Yeah, that's Jesus and the promotion of his godly activities, when the real gods have been written from the story. I'm really looking forward to Christmas this year. Is that members of the 1001 Club are recruited from all over the world. You have Conrad Black and Maurice Strong from Canada, Henry Ford II and Robert McNamara, yeah, with friends in Glasgow maybe, from the United States. Carol, how are things with you? Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with you about whether or not he's in your gene pool. Kind of sleazy looking guy, and he's got a central parting, and my wife would never let me have that. Okay, he is serving under John F. Kennedy, who's no longer with us, and Lyndon B. Johnson, who signed Executive Order 1001 on the aeroplane that is Air Force One. Isn't it quite sinister? Yeah? Signed Executive Order 1001 immediately after Kennedy had been killed, with his widow on the plane. She is in Intel, yeah, and she then had affairs with the drug runner that is Onassis, yeah, who was Prince Philip's partner in the drug running, and their next affair was with templesmen of De Beers. Yeah? Everything they can tuck away in their handbags, they do. And they own now all of the central banks all across the world. Okay, and that includes Latin America, where the peso is still used in Mexico. Okay, let's look at the names. Anton Patino, Gustavo Cisternas from Latin America. That's the geese that are now flying over the Christmas scene. Okay, and the goose stepping all over the world, Sir Peter Cadbury and Lord Buxton from the United Kingdom. Cadbury's were just in the process of closing their factory when I left Doonican, because they maybe knew by reading the future that I was going to dob on them as being fascists. They're the coups that for a time owned the Ednam House Hotel. Yeah. Egmond Fromelt and Herbert Batliner from Liechtenstein, Seko with the hat on, that is the giveaway that he shoots the rare species in Africa. And Salai Edu from Africa, Mohammed Al-Naki Aga Abedi from the Middle East, Gayendra Dev from Nepal, and Sir Kenneth Foon and Sir Yeke Pau from Hong Kong. Prince Henrik Dane, God lover, that is them now taking the piss out of the dog lovers. Yeah, that is God in Hebrew when you read it from right to left. Thank you to the listeners to these videos for explaining things like that to me in the comments field. Yeah, Gayendra Dev, Prince Philip, and Di already dead. That is Prince Philip he's shaking hands with, and that is Prince Philip who commissioned the murder. And there's a black cat going by, and it could be an unlucky day, but I cannot make the sun come out. There is King Juan Carlos, who killed his elder brother so he could become the king and shoot the rare species every time that someone accuses him of that. Prince Johannes von Thurn and Taxi, and the launch of the yellow taxi, snitching from the front seat and the back seat gossip, then goes straight to the world owners, and the Rothschilds are not mentioned on this list, at least so far. Baron Heinrich II, Heine von Teisse, and this is the Born leisure joke out of Germany, that is Borner Missa. Yeah, Baron Heinrich Heine von Teissen, that is the Heinz families that Donald is in the bloodlines for. And we're in my inaugural lecture in Dunedin that is still totally the property of the Queen in England, in inverted commas. Okay, there is Born Leisure, Borna Mitza and Baron Heinrich. They are from the Frankfurt ghetto, that is the Harris family of Butlins. Yeah, and there are the icons for Jesus and the Piso cavalry horse, and that is cavalry, the killing of all of the global pagans by the Calvary Hill methodology and the slip of a word into a new Californian venture. That's why California gets more earthquakes than anywhere else on this earth, and they're massive. And there are Jesus working for Butlins. Quite sick, really. Delaney had the donkey. Yeah, and that is Delanoy. Yeah, the middle name for the folk that were on the Mayflower, and that is the middle name for Delano Roosevelt. Okay, let's get going a little bit faster, because I've only done a little bit of the listing. And here is the nephew of the notorious Fritz Tyson in the club of 1001. Yeah, and there is Mike Tyson. All of them, yeah, are covers for the Tysons that become the American presidential ancestors. Very interesting compared to molecular neuroscience and saving lives in medicine. Okay, a final difference is that the members of the Pilgrim Society centre all around the influential New York and London banks, law firms, insurance companies and influential political and economic think tanks. That's John Lamont and the de Lamonts that we've just mentioned. On the other hand, many 1001 club members are involved with raw materials and bulk shipping corporations, not to mention international mafia cartels. There are leading figures from respectable banks, but overall it's much more mixed crowd because in Revolutionary Red a large number of European interests are represented. Obscure elements within the Vatican are also stronger in the 1001 Club than in the Pilgrim Society. You get Ratzinger and the pre-arrangement of the cover of him with that name 30 years before he was appointed. Okay, let's just go straight to the pictures and the highlights. There is Sid Spyro above Val Doonican that you now understand. Yeah, the whole of his life, I doubt that he would be a billionaire because the rate of inflation back then is nothing like it is now. I'm not going to be able to buy a house with the rates of interest that I've been given for my half of that house. It is every bank is so corrupted that they give none of their customers the interest rate rises, and that's why I'm getting all of these culprits into the limelight, and I'm really going to enjoy Christmas. Okay, Harry Oppenheimer, Sir Val Duncan. Yeah, can you hear the Piso Polis in the background? Maurice Strong, that is what keeps the whole world corrupted. The polis are named after the Bible author. Sir Eric Drake, yeah, all the heroes in the history, all of it could be written since the turn of the century for all we know. Yeah, that is the powers that be that use every obfuscation tool they possibly can. Maurice Strong, and he's on the committee for foreign affairs. This, I forget what it is. Okay, there is the Spectator and Sir Val Duncan's role. Oh, maybe I got it wrong that he was. Oh no, he is Rio Tinto. Okay, there it is, Rio Tinto right at the bottom, and there is Sir Val Duncan, and that is him in his elder years. 1001 club members: Sidney Spyro with the word Piso in it, Oppenheimer from the Frankfurt ghetto, Sir Val Duncan, Maurice Strong and Sir Eric Drake. They represented corporations as banks as Anglo-American, De Beers, Charter, Rio Tinto, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. Yeah, that is the massive Persian families that are the Aga Khans, and all of them are on the list. And BP, the British Newfoundland Corporation, that is BP in the Garden of Eden. Yet there is Aden, and has changed its name to the Yemen so that the Beatles could sing about it and they could make the movie about salmon fishing in the Yemen. International Energy Development Corporation, P&O for Michael Moore and George W. Bush. Yeah, and possibly Bin Laden's brother, the Bank of England, Barclays and Hambro, totally written out as an SOE member and a double agent in Norway right through World War II. Duncan, that's Jocelyn Hambro. Duncan and Strong were close associates of a man called Edmund de Rothschild. Yeah, did he send you Christmas presents, Hannah Mary? Strong, also a close associate of the Rockefellers, used to be a key player in the elitist version of the United Nations Sustainable Development Movement in darkest Africa, where everybody still lives in mud huts. Yeah, only 4% of them have I forget what the statistic is, but I don't think only 4% of them have energy supplies to their house. They still have to cook on an open fire and live in squalor. Annie Lennox. Is the idea to hand over ownership of all national resources to the UN Security Council? You've seen how all of them are on the Rothschild payroll. Okay, let's go down to highlighted bits and see what we can. Oh, that's maybe as far as I got. If the communists or anyone else were to take them over, we would lose the lot. Governments like Colonel Nasser's in Egypt are just as dangerous. This is the same joke as Mubarak in Egypt, yeah, getting every year $2 billion in USAID from America, because all of them are related to their fascist relatives all over the world. Amory made these remarks in late 1962, after 1 year before Kennedy was shot in the head, and Egypt had sent troops to the Yemen, the Garden of Eden in the first chapter in the Bible, in order to prevent domestic forces from being... And can you hear the geese? Oh no, it's the police. In order to prevent domestic forces from bringing back the ousted Imam. Yeah, the British had a crown colony in the south, Aden, but realised they were not a superpower anymore and could do little to defend their overseas interests. That is Harold Wilson with the Piezo pipe and Lord Alec Douglas Home right next to me in the borders, yeah, carpet bombing that place, and the BP plant is still fucking there. Overtly, that is as Amory and his good friend David wanted. The police are wasting all of their petrol supplies. Stirling, founder of the SAS, soon approached Sir Alex Douglas Home, Foreign Secretary at the time. Yeah. Harold Wilson, the socialist leader, was a Piezo pipe smoker. This is the one that lives right next to Belgium and has got the massive home called the Helen Hirschel. Yeah, that's the Rothschild family bloodlines, and they are the founders of the Coutts Bank. Yeah, my new mate that is the dead ringer for young Rothschild, that is his new name is Sean Coulter, Foreign Secretary at the time in the Whites Club to discuss their plan of a covert war. Okay, there is Julian Amory, who would become head of Le Cercle, that's the inner circle, who could read and write right up to 1914, but now everybody has to read Rupert Murdoch's papers and believe the lies that are told there, or buy a license to listen to the lies that the BBC tell you. Billy McLean and Prince Turkai Al Faisal. Yeah? Massive oil owners. Yeah? Just born into the place where God planted them, and they're the only people that are allowed to survive in the pagan cult. Yeah, and the King of Jordan. Yeah, can you get why Joe Jordan and Jordan with the plastic tits are launched into our official news of the world? That's the International Private Intelligence Group. Yeah, and those are the people that funded the bringing down of the Twin Towers, and that is the British Royals and the American government what brought them down, so that they could take over the last remaining places in the Holy Lands that they did not already own the central bank of. Okay, and the clouds are thinning a little bit. Now I've got loads of other stuff to look at, and there is the Zambezi Valley and the Zambezi, oh sorry, that's because I've been searching for Val Doonican. So there is the sad fact that over 120 million hectares on that massive chunk of Africa has been stolen by these sad bastards. World Wildlife Map from 2001. All of them led by juntas and dictators, all of them kept healthy by Angloag's billionaire mercy ships, and the medics on those get tax breaks to visit there. They treat a few Elephant Man cases, and then they do the regime, the massive medical aid that they cannot get from home because all of the intellectuals have been chased out of those places. Dr. Ian Fingland, that's the massive massacres in those countries that the medics had then to flee to Europe and the civilized parts of the world that are the bosses of that operation. World Wildlife Map from 2001, and guess what's happened to the rainforests? Okay, down we go. There is the same story in partitioned Pakistan. Exactly 70 years this year, partitioned out of Linlithgow, in the Lothian Valley. That's the Governor Generals from this country who are still more powerful than any elected officer, in inverted commas, in those countries. And Imran Khan was trying to be that for a time, married to a goldsmith, like Commoner Kate's mother is a goldsmith, and Princess Diana was the bastard of a goldsmith. And all of it is absolutely a mafia operation. And they call them national parks, and that is Queenie's National Park even today. That's Queen Elizabeth II, who this year may still have the courage to make a Christmas speech. Only time will tell. Okay, and everything is an acronym. I can't remember. Service traffic. And there's List Circle and the Privy Council and MI6, but we've not highlighted it. Let's go down to Conrad Black. There's the Aga Khan, and the friends that were talking to Lucinda Russell last time I went to the Perth races. Do you get? No, let's not do that. According to the World Bank in 2002, by many measures, the Aga Khan Rural Support Programme is highly successful. NGO, non-governmental, run rural development programme. It reaches some 900,000 people in about 1,100, all the Freemasonic numbers, and 1001 executive order, signed by Lyndon B. Johnson on Air Force One after they'd gotten rid of their biggest menace to the Mafia, because he wanted to give the collateral gold that was stolen from all of the poor countries in 1945 back to those countries. That's John F. Kennedy and his assassination by members of these clubs in the northern areas and the Kaitrol district of Pakistan near the Afghan border. All of the recent conflicts. Club of Rome, round and round and round it goes. Founded by 1001 club member Alexander King in 1968 with Fiat's second man, that's the fast cars Formula One. His name is Aurelio Pecchi with the P. Peso moniker at the front of his name. Okay, so this is Fiat, and that's Gianni Agnelli, used to be a 1001 club member. People like Dean Rusk and Carol Wilson, both of the Pilgrim Society, helped. 1001 club member King Juan Carlos, who killed his own brother, is as a honorary member of the Club of Rome. Did we show you a picture of Juan Carlos and the headlines about his dead brother? Okay, Peace Parks Foundation. That's the Parks of Hamilton who discovered Africa, and they were from Selkirk at that time, like the Murray family, and they are the ancestors of both Bush and Roosevelt. Outlaw Murray, Rupert family, the Rothschild Foundation, Anglo-Zionist, De Beers, Anglo-Zionist, Deutsche Bank, Germany, that is the banking towers Deutsche Bank that John Craven works for, yeah, and that is the bringing down of those towers in Notting Hill by the Know-Nothings in London. Yeah, Philip's Dutch, Total French, largely controlled by the Suez Group, which is the Garden of Eden, and the carpet bombing of Egypt and the revolutionaries up there, and Daimler, Chrysler, the massive car companies that are all descended from the death camps in Europe before they went to America. Bill Gates, who's now dropped off as top of the Gottsheim-led car companies and the Forbes rich listers. Okay, and there is a set of things that you find when you search for, what did we search for? The Club of 21 on Wikipedia. Okay, that's another smaller number. This is getting right up to world ownership. And Club 21, yeah, so all you've got is a series of boutiques and shops and restaurants. Yet none of it. So since I committed all of that stuff on the committee of 300 to the internet, all of the websites that I used to get the information from have been shut down by the powers that be, and that's the same story for the front page of that website, yeah, until they realise the power of God. Rhodes, IA and Nyasal and Club. 1001 club members. Harry Oppenheimer, that's the ones that invented the bomb for Japan, and Sidney Spiro with the word Piso in his name, dined at the club. Julian Amory, a later head of Le Cercle, went there, just as Lord Grenfell of the Pilgrim Society family. There's the Grenfell Morgan Bank. There is the confirmation, not this time, but the Bismarcks are on the board there. And there is the one who's in charge in Rhodesia with all of the things that have appeared in the news since I became interested in what they do. He's 90 something now. Yeah, I forget what his name is. Mugabe. Yeah, all of them extreme fascists. Yeah, and all of them got the coat of many colours joke for Joseph of Egypt. And all of it is religious fraction and terror based on those ISIS myths, with Joseph, Mary and Ben Yusuf being the star members of the cast. Hannah Mary. And there is the false terror, yeah, run by the false police, and everybody, even in the tower block around which the police were swarming in Newcastle when I was living there, yeah, that is right above the police station, and all of the police in that city were armed to the teeth after the Manchester bombings. Yeah, and it's just absolutely pathetic. And there is Joyce Grenfell, Pi Pi Piso policewoman. Yeah, and there is the South African, and she's the one who keeps saying, George, don't do that. That is George VI, the stammering king. Don't take us to war. Yeah, and an absolute obfuscation for the Morgan Grenfell Bank. South Africa Foundation, founded by 1001 club members, Major General Sir Francis de Guingland, a former head of military intelligence, and formerly headed by 1001 club member Harry Oppenheimer. It is a South African big business lobby, and it includes corporations as De Beers, Anglo Gold, Anglo Platinum, GFL Mining Services, Shell, Siemens that were in London right up to the beginning of World War I in Charlton, where the London barrier now is, so that the gods can no longer flood them. Sony, etc. Guinan became secretary and president of the foundation. That's Sony that kills the people, because they are a pseudonym for that is the singer that was killed at Sony, and her name is Whitney Houston. That's cover for Whitney Harris being the Nuremberg inquest chair for America. The second Lord Beaverbr, another 1001 club member, has also attended meetings. That is Max Aitken and Lord Beaverbr that came from Canada to run the whole of our propaganda effort, and then launched Rupert the Bear into it, so that he, as a member of the club of 1001, could continue to steal from the world and falsify all of the world's news output. They are the Permindex killers of John F. Kennedy, and Churchill, the Queen's father, was the partner in that Permindex syndicate. And all of the patsies are trained at the mind control centres like Tavistock and the place that is Huntsville in America. World Wildlife Fund, from Hong Kong to South America, all of the national heads of the WWF are members of the 1001 Club. Bit boring really, isn't it? Yeah, unless you live in a mud hut. And none of them have weapons, which is why in the pay round for Lonmin, that is BP still, that is South Africa in the Lonmin companies, where all of the people in the pay round were shot dead. That is BP even today. We only know the names of relatively small amount of club members, which could give us a lopsided view of the average visitor of the 1001 Club. You will not get any information after this video is made, because you'll not be allowed to study it on your own in case it starts a revolution of information, and that's all it needs. Here's the cricketing scam and the banks. Aga Abedi, co-founder and chairman of the BCCI, which went down in the most massive banking scandal ever. The BCCI was a money laundering centre for weapons, drugs and all kinds of other illegal businesses. The role of the Bank of England was investigated by a Pilgrim Society member who became a member of the Order of the Garter in 2005. That is a legacy of being a witch in Britain. Thank you to Greg Hallett for telling me all of those horrific stories. And if you were a witch in Britain and you wore garters, it would be easy to have sex with the monarchs. Okay, and there is the logo for the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the obfuscation tool for that thing that is the centre for weapons, drugs and all kinds of other illegal businesses. And you get it? It is the sun god Ra, who's been replaced this Christmas by Jesus, and every Christmas for 2000 years after the New Testament was launched. Okay, here's the Beaverbrs. Wow, fancy finding them here and with Hitler just before the war. Son of the First Lord Beaverbr, who was an intimate of Hitler's inner circle and became a very good friend of Rudolf Hess, the Thullist, the Tool, Turn and Taxis. Thule is a fascist community in Hitler's Germany, and I used to have a roof rack thing that carried your gear to your holiday scene, and I totally regret now buying that. It's in the skip that used to belong to my home. Of the contents of that home: Sir Max Aitken and Jonathan, Air Force, Arms and Traders with Thatcher. That's Jonathan Aitken and Mrs. Thatcher's son, whose inquest into the trading with Africa of those weapons has never been convened, or nothing has ever happened. Okay, there is Beaverbr granting, and there they are all over the world. That is Winston Churchill. Oh no, sorry, that could be Beaverbr again in his later years. Okay, there's Mrs. Thatcher and all of it. Do you get it? Everything that I've told you about Siemens and them being right into the start, within a fortnight of World War II, they were evicted from Charlton. Yeah, and that is them making weapons for Germany there. Okay, and there is Jonathan Aitken and Mrs. Thatcher. Yeah, you get Becky Thatcher in the novels by Mark Twain now. That is just like the Shakespearean output. And there is Dennis, who ran Burma Oil, yeah, in the Golden Triangle. Dennis Thatcher with his missus and Jonathan Aitken. So, sorry, that's Jonathan Aitken, and there he is again behind Thatcher. And that is the person that Rebecca Stronmeyer and the MP for Blackpool work with on the global education. Here's the untouchables in law enforcement, Piso Polis. Walter Annenberg, Chicago's most powerful crime families, which both inspired and befriended Al Capone. Yeah, tax exiles still, sad bastards, the whole lot of them, friends of Salmon and Salmon and Sturgeon. Yeah, total traitors to the country that they pretend to love and are icons for. Somehow ended up becoming ambassador to England. Yeah, that's Chicago's most powerful crime families, befriended Al Capone, ended up becoming ambassador to England in 1969. He appointed Gordon Gray, a psychological warfare expert, as the head of his Triangle Broadcasting Company. And when I was an altar boy, Cardinal Gray and the Greys are in the Mafia families that are the Illuminati. Right then. And there is Al Capone. Yeah, and he's De Niro, and I'm sure one of my correspondents on shifting the letters for Nero around, I can't remember what they told me, and it's, if you want to look at my YouTube channel you'll see the comments. Oh, it's Oren, and that's the Aurelian, yeah, the Lawrence of Arabia, Oren, yeah, that is the Illuminati that are the massive family bloodlines that are mainly in Versailles. Okay, and that is Poppia and Nero and Oren backwards. And the Aurelian master race. Yeah, and there is Poppia in the pornography films, and Der Amour de Poppia. Yeah, she was Mariam was the mother of Arius Copernicus Piso, and he was sired not by Gaius Piso, because he was murdered, but he was sired by Emperor Caligula, and when you watch the Caligula movie it was just pornography. Okay, Herbert Batliner now, trust manager in Liechtenstein. I think you could run free radio broadcasts from there. Yeah, and partner of the 1001 Club, member and corrupt Mossad agent Tibor Rosenbaum, accused by the German BND of having laundered money for Chancellor Helmut Kohl, I think he died this year too, Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines, where they still have the Piso currency and they get the massive floods, and they've had more this week. Drug lord Pablo Escobar and Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire with the leopard skin gear on to show that they still have the power to kill the rare species and all of the land grabs that they have done there. Batliner also keeps a job in the Vatican City. I think we're almost up now for energy.